Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Michelle.
everyone. This is Michelle Bailey with FxWB New Beginnings podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, welcome, everyone. You have thus far enlightened me on all the things that you want FxWB to share. And we are so happy to do that for you. Thank you so much for listening in to all the different podcast episodes that have been aired thus far. We are actually about 80 episodes in, and I am so happy that you guys are listening in, sharing your stories, and helping this community to build and grow to live better. And FxWB is all about enhancing one's well-being in different ways because well-being have many different facets. Michelle, myself, we always talk about health and learning how to use functional movement, nutrition, mindset building to help us live better. But there are other facets of well being that we always take into consideration. Things like finding or cultivating your purpose, understanding relationships, community building, learning about security in your makeup, security in your finances, being there for each other, learning about our environment. So we look at all these different areas of enhancing one's well-being, and we encourage you to continue listening in here on FxWB New Beginnings podcast as we share different ways in which we can do so. And today, it's like none other. We are going to share about health, but in a different aspect of health. Learning about our mental health, learning about how we can enhance our mental health through the things that we do, we think, we care for. We are going to learn more about that today with our guest today. Thank you so much for listening in. And today I want to welcome on board Miss Jolie. Miss Jolie, how are you today?
I'm great, Michelle. Thank you.
Yes, Miss Jolie is an empowerment coach, and we're going to get into what is an empowerment coach and what does Miss Jolie do in this sphere of learning to help us all enhance our well-being. We thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us, Jolie, who are you and what do you do?
Well, who I am is, let me tell you where I'm from. I'm from Chicago and born and bred in the city of Chicago, lived around the country, a few other places, but I am an empowerment coach, which means I help people who have been through tough times and lost their self-confidence and kind of don't understand their self-worth, because those two things are different. And I help them regain that self-confidence and understand their self-worth so they can build a life of joy and fulfillment so they can be happy, because that's all we want to do, is to be happy.
Right. What is the difference?
Self-confidence and self-worth. So self-confidence is knowing that you can do the things that you've been trained to do or that come naturally to you. Self-worth is, how do I deserve the things that I want?
Mm,
It's
okay.
more about their self-esteem. And when you get kicked to the curb a few times, your confidence takes a hit, but sometimes you can build that up again on your own. But your self-esteem or self-worth takes a bigger hit because it's more emotional.
Yes, yes, that emotional piece is an integral part to understanding self-esteem and self-worth. Because if your emotional well-being is shot,
Mhm.
there's more likely that opportunity for you to stay depressed
Yes.
and not want to love your own self.
Right.
And you wouldn't
Exactly.
want to care for yourself, yes?
Yes. So emotional, mental, and physical health are tied together very tightly, because if your mental health isn't there, your emotional health takes a hit. Your physical health also takes a hit. So when one of those things is out of whack, then all of them are affected in some way.
Yes. So, guys, you always hear me talk about your physical well-being and tying it into understanding that you have to have a mindset to be able to enhance one's well-being in just being able to go outside to walk even. It plays an integral part in your self-worth, and for you to understand that your environment around you can impact you positively or negatively, and that therefore impacts your mental health. So they are all tied in together, mental and emotional stability in general. Yes.
Yeah. So take, for example, you want to lose weight. So that's, society tells us we need to be a certain size, blah, blah, blah. I don't listen to that because I gave up a long time ago. Um, but when your goal is to lose weight, you have to look at other things too, because it's not always what you eat, it's how you're eating, who you are when you're eating, and what your mindset is when you're eating. So
Yes.
if your goal is to lose weight, but you haven't addressed anything emotionally, because trauma affects the way you eat. Trauma affects your mental health. Trauma affects your physical health. So if you're not looking at those things, then your goal to lose weight will be, you might make it, but you'll fall back onto those old patterns that you've got because you haven't addressed the things that cause those patterns.
Right. Yes, and that speaks to one of the things that I share in one of my programs is when you want to develop new habits, you have to be able to understand this is not a matter of a goal being wanting to lose weight. Though that more so is an outcome if you have everything else aligned. So if your mind is not set to be able to accept these new habits, then you're not going to get the results you're looking for.
Right, right.
And learning that they are connected is important. I think we can't speak enough on that. That our mindset, our mental health is in correlation to what our physical health is, as well as our emotional health. Let's talk a little bit more about emotional well-being.
Okay.
What would you consider a positive emotional well-being?
Well, a lot of it has to do with putting yourself first, because take, for instance, women, because we are all nurturers. Well, not all of us, but most of us are nurturers. And we want to make sure that our husbands are okay, or our boyfriends or whatever. And we want to make sure that our children are okay, and our parents. And we give and give and give. And at some point, you can't give anymore because your cup is empty.
Yes.
So it's the old adage, put the oxygen mask on first before you put others' oxygen masks on, because you won't be able to help them until you have emotional well-being in the forefront of your own life.
Right.
So making yourself a priority, having compassion for yourself when you make mistakes or forget to do something or whatever, and also forgiving yourself for not saying yes to everything. Because
Mhm.
when we say yes to everything, that's when your cup gets empty. And then what does that cause? Resentment towards other people or things. And then that begins the spiral of depression or mental health issues, that you're just depleted.
Right.
You can't take care of yourself anymore. So the first priority should be about yourself.
Right. And when we say self, we're not talking about selfishness here. There is a difference
Right.
because as Jolie correctly said, if your cup is empty, you can't give anything else. Right? You can't
Right.
replenish anything else. You can't do anything. You're boots. You're done. And sometimes, as you said, you then in kind of internally start to put yourself down
Mm-hmm.
because now you can't help everybody else.
Right. Right.
So we need to be able to understand what's going on within us mentally and emotionally so that we could regain that. I would call it a power of learning how to understand self and grow into replenishing ourselves. And there are different ways to do that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But just knowing and understanding that you too need to be replenished to
Mhm.
be able to still help others is
Right.
important. And most women find themselves in that state, right?
Right. Yep, we do. We do.
Yeah.
And I've been through it. I don't know if you've been through it, but I have been
Mm.
through it where I feel like I can't do this anymore. And
Right.
so you start to sabotage things.
Mm.
That's a difference. That's another discussion. Yeah.
Yes.
But in helping others, yes, an act of kindness is one thing, but that's not making sure everybody's okay. That's one act of kindness. And that actually makes us feel pretty good.
Mhm.
But because it's not something we have to do, it's something we want to do. So I was thinking as you were talking about helping people, firefighters, when you think about them, they don't go into a burning building without their gear on.
Right.
So they put their oxygen on, they bring an axe, they bring, I watch Chicago Fire a lot. So I watch all the equipment they carry with them to fight fires to help people. They also bring oxygen for people they might think are in a burning building.
Mhm.
So those people, take that as an example. They have to make sure they're okay before they can save other people. And that's an extreme situation, but
Yes.
it's very true for everybody.
Yes. We have to take care of us to be able to take care of others.
Right, right.
And
Exactly.
and that's something that we can't talk enough about because sometimes we still see a lot of people not taking heed, but that's something we have to always promote, that
Yeah.
we have to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of others. And simple tips, for instance, just a matter of taking time to breathe.
Yes. Yeah. 15 minutes a day to write down you know, just journaling an attitude of gratitude, maybe at the end of the day or in the beginning of the day. Three things I'm grateful for at the end of the day that happen to me that I can celebrate. Or in the beginning of the day, things that I'm grateful for as I start my day. Breathing exercises, even going to the gym is okay. And if you do that on a regular basis. But if you do something for yourself every single day and put it on your calendar, because I have my clients do that, is put it on your calendar because you don't want to forget, because we do forget ourselves.
Yes.
And sometimes, most of the time, when you do that, it'll become a habit. So I have a saying, and it comes from the company or the school that I went to for coaching, is change your habit, change your life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when you change that habit, you notice changes within yourself, but other people will notice them too.
Right. Because you kind of like started to develop a way of, being joyful,
Hmm.
and people will start recognizing the change in your whole outlook
Yeah.
on life. You might be
Yeah.
smiling more,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that have kind of blowed up in the last few couple of years is being grateful or showing gratitude.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Is How can one show gratitude?
Well, showing gratitude could be a saying a prayer. Showing gratitude could be doing an act of kindness for someone who's done something for you. Whatever feels good in a way that is not, I mean, it could get you excited, but
Mhm.
it's more about the heart. If it's heart centered, the thing that you do to show gratitude, then it's true gratitude. And everybody has their own way to do this. I have my own way. I show myself my own gratitude by doing artwork because it's something that I love to do, and I give it away to people because it's what I do. So it could be anything, and I can't speak specifically. I do know that one of the clients that I had in the past, the way she showed gratitude was to do something nice for somebody every single day. Every single day. It didn't matter who it was. And it could have been a stranger. Yeah.
So tell me your story, if you don't mind. What brought you to this point of wanting to help others in this sphere of health?
Okay. Um, So in my 40s, I was laid off from my job. This was back in a long time ago. Um, I was laid off from my job.
Looked like that was a long time ago.
Thank you. Um, so at that point, when you're in your 40s, you kind of think you have your career set. You think that things are going to just kind of flow along. You're going to stay at a company for a while. And when I was let go, I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh my God, why was I let go? I don't understand. They just told me I wasn't doing a good job. So actually, I got fired from a job. And it took me a year, almost a year, to find a job. And I sent out 250 resumes. That was before the internet. Got four interviews, no job, had to move to another state, almost lost my house. It was almost foreclosed. The day I signed papers to sell it was the day I got the letter from the bank in the mail saying, we're going to take your house, and moved to another state and got 2 part-time jobs. But it was 3 weeks before my unemployment ran out. And that was when we got a year of unemployment, not just the 6 months that people usually get. And that I was laid off. After that, I was laid off 4 more times. So each time I thought the world is falling apart. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, because that's the first thing I thought about. And part of that time I was a single mother. So the last time was right before COVID. And it was also a time where I could decide whether I wanted to keep working or to retire, because I was at that point. And I decided, no, I'm not done with what I want to do. But then do I go back in the corporate world, or do I do something different? For the past 8 years in the corporate world, I was a coach for software teams. I was in IT for many, many years. And I was a coach for software teams. And I thought, I was looking for something to do. And I thought, why don't I just keep coaching? Because I know how to do this. And coaching to me is coaching, whether it's an individual or a group.
Yes.
So I found a school, and I did 6 months of training, had practice clients, and started my business right in May of 2020. So that was after COVID started. So people thought that I was one of those coaches that came out of COVID.
Right.
But I wasn't, because I was laid off way before COVID. So I wanted to help everybody, but I can't. I can't help everybody, but I can help people who've been through tough times. And I know what it feels like. I've been through 2 divorces. So, people in relationship issues, or going through a divorce, or have gone through divorce, it's a loss. It's a grieving time that they have. Their self-confidence gets kicked in the what, and self-esteem sometimes goes down, because here they've been in a relationship, and that relationship might have been contentious enough that they were beaten down. So
Right.
I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve a good life, So that's what we address. And I've seen results in helping people start with one goal and realizing that you have to address the things that cause that issue before you can reach that goal and be successful and continue, have it be a long-term goal instead of something short-term and then you forget how to do it. So
Right.
that is my story in a nutshell.
Well, you know what? You coming to this point of coaching definitely would help others, not just in one spot, but worldwide.
Right.
Because what you are teaching people or trying to coach people to do is to realize that your life hasn't stopped. This is just a stepping stone.
Right.
A failure is not a failure. It's actually just a stepping stone to continue into your successes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what you did by your story alone, because so many different things happening one after the other. You took that pain and make it into something that can help others. And that in and of itself is an achievement that anybody can have if they too are in a dying issue or a divorce, or as you said, a grief tends to knock us down, but we have to use sometimes these same grieving situations to help us grow.
Right. Yeah. Excuse me. And I was thinking that while all this was happening, I didn't feel like I could turn to anybody. I had no one to ask for help. And when I did ask one person, and they said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." And I was
Right.
like, "Okay, fine. I've been on my own all my life anyway. Since I was 13, I was doing things."
Mm-hmm.
I'm an alcoholic father, so that was a situation I lived in, and I realized that I could just do it all on my own.
Right.
Well, not everybody can, and I probably should have asked for help more, but I didn't. But I think that all of those times when I didn't ask for help, I took everything that happened to me as a lesson. And I have a way of being resilient, and a lot of people don't have that resilience. They do need help, and they don't know where to turn.
Right.
And
But sometimes it may also be that at that point, no one was there to help.
yes,
No one had the resources to help you.
right.
And but now you having this expertise, you can help those who may be in a situation where they do need help. You are there. And there are a lot of life coaches out there, empowerment coaches out there, but just knowing that there is someone there to help
Hmm.
because they went through it as well
Right,
is a big help for anyone
right,
going through this.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Thank you so much, Jolie. I really appreciate you sharing your story because sometimes people will be like, okay, empowerment coach, life coach, all these different coaches coming out there, but what do they really do? And I think most of the times when someone hears a person's story and see how it has impacted them to help others is something that people need to hear.
Right. Yes. I mean, if you're going to pick somebody to help you, you want to know that they understand you and they actually
Yes,
listen to you, because you can hear people talk, but you don't always listen to them.
that's right. There's a
And
difference.
yeah, there is a difference, and also a connection, because when I talk to people, if I don't connect with them, I don't feel that they might be a good match. So I
Right.
can refer them to somebody else. But
Hmm.
when I do talk to people and connect with them, it makes such a difference, because that relationship is built on respect and trust. And
Yes.
when you're coaching somebody, you're working with them, you're taking the journey with them. You're not just sending them off and doing whatever. You're actually accountable to that person, and you let them understand that their accountability is to themselves and
Mhm.
also to you and the partnership that you have on their journey, because it is a journey.
It is. It is definitely a journey because I can apply that same thought to me working along with others. My goal is always to help others to enhance their well-being through health, but I more so look at the ladies in the perimenopause phase, and you know what goes on that phase. You do.
Yeah.
And sometimes when women come to me and they say, well, I just want to lose weight. I'm like, that's not what I'm about. We have to match. We have to really understand what's the underlying issue and work together in that frame of mind, because it's not just about losing weight. It's all about learning about what's going on with you internally and then be able to understand it so that you could see the results you're looking for. And sometimes it's not just about weight loss.
Hmm.
That's why I said that's an outcome. Most of the times it's not just about that. It's,
Right,
as you said, it's that emotional, physical, and mental
right.
concept working together and meshing together in one to help this person realize that I am a new person, I am a different person, I am taking care of myself,
Hmm.
you know, and I am filling back my cup so that I could help others.
Right, right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. So tell me, Jolie, what are your plans? If have you had any challenges in doing this type of work? And if so, what are your plans to kind of, overcome that?
Well, the challenge is for coaches, because it's kind of a saturated market,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And when you're a coach, you have to bring something that's unique to the table.
Yes.
So I feel that ability to, I am also an energy healer. I am a Reiki level 2, so I can do energy healing at a distance. I'm also a Lego Serious Play facilitator. I think we talked about that a little bit last time I talked.
Yes, yes. And I think we need to talk a little bit about what that is, because I know most people know about Reiki healing, but what is the Lego?
So Lego Serious Play, I'm certified as a life and health coach. That's where I started. And then I brought in my energy healing, which I have certification for. I'm also certified as a Lego Serious Play facilitator. So Lego Serious Play is a way of using Lego. See, I show you my little duck. I think I showed you that last time.
Mhm.
Using that as a tool to create metaphors to tell stories, because
Okay.
our hands are connected to our brains 70 to 80% of the time.
Mhm.
And when you when you ask somebody a question and you're using this tool, you give them a very short period of time to build something, and it could be just anything, because Lego bricks, they represent anything you want them to represent, because you
Mhm.
know children play, right? And you ask them a question and you tell them, tell me a story about that, what you just built, based on the question.
Okay.
So in the corporate world, I did this for team building, strategy building, idea creation. And about 2 years ago, I thought, I wonder if I could use this in my coaching. Well, yes, you can, because I contacted my trainer and he said, yeah, you've got the skills. You just need different questions. And so,
Right.
yeah, so he gave me the list of questions that I could use, plus I could add my own. And it's been pretty good about, having people kind of get that aha moment when they're
Mhm.
talking about what they built. So the question could be, build me your goal.
Mhm.
You got 30 seconds to build me your goal. And they'll build something and then they'll start talking about it and realize maybe that's not their goal. Maybe it's something totally different.
Right.
It's a really interesting tool for adults to use.
Yes.
And I know therapists use it for children. Therapists, I have a nutrition coach friend, she uses it in her nutrition coaching. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back to using these different modalities help you in your practice.
Mhm.
What would you say might be a challenge for you and overcoming the challenge of helping others in your practice?
As a whole.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that people do is they get hesitant about working with a coach, because they really don't understand that coaching is so different from therapy. Therapy, you can talk about your mother for 5 years, but with
Mhm.
with coaching, I have a 12-week program, so in 12 weeks you're going to meet a goal,
Yes.
or more than one. You never know.
Mhm.
About halfway through that, people start thinking, I'm changing, I don't like it, people are starting to make negative comments to me, I'm feeling weird or whatever. Well,
Mhm.
that's when they start to sabotage themselves. That's when Reiki comes in to calm that amygdala and to, balance the chakras. I know it's a little bit of woo woo for some people, but when when you don't have energy balanced in your body, you
Mhm.
tend to put up blocks against things, and
Right.
change is scary. Change
Oh,
is
of course.
change is very scary for people.
Yes.
So when you get over that hump, when you calm down and realize that this is all part of the process, then you can continue. That's overall. I have run into that pretty much with every one of my clients
Mhm.
at some
Yeah.
point. That's about halfway through. Yeah.
Right. And that's expected
Hmm.
because when people realizing that they have to let go of things that are hurting or making them stagnant,
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard to want to let go
Yeah. Yeah.
because they don't know of anything else different.
Well, it's that comfort zone. It's the devil you know to the devil you don't know. So
Right.
I want to give an example of one of my clients, and she has said to me it's okay to talk about her. So I would never do it unless I was given that permission. She started out, she wanted to lose weight. She also wanted to kind of get over the grief of losing her son 11 years ago.
Mhm.
And he was killed in a tragic accident, and I started out doing an art piece for her actually, and then we decided to work on coaching. And found out that all of her issues were based on an abandonment issue when she was a baby. She
Mm.
was abandoned as a tiny baby, given to her father, who gave her to an uncle who raised her and abused her sexually and emotionally. And she had to look at herself back then and realize that this is something she had to deal with.
Right.
And it wasn't about going into therapy. She had been in therapy, but she said it didn't really help. But when she faced that issue that she had and talked to that child that she was, and told her she was loved, and she wanted to heal her, it made a big difference in her life, and she was able to accept the grief of losing her son, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't get over it. You get to an
Right.
acceptance of it.
Right.
And also, she learned how to say no to all the people who said, do this for me. And she got rid of that guilt of saying no. And she went on a vacation with her friends for the first time. And she was 55 years old.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And I
And
still talk to her.
that's great, because I think what I'm hearing sometimes, when people hear coach, they
Mhm.
don't really understand the meaning of a coach, because a
Right.
therapist is wonderful. You do need therapists, but you also do need a coach, somebody to walk alongside you
Yes.
to kind of bring out the elements that you need to be seen. And it does take time. It's not like this is just going to happen in one day. It's
Right.
not going to. It
Right.
takes time, and that concept of not wanting to change, not wanting to, let go of things, it's there, but you need to be coached through it to
Yes.
see the results that you're looking for.
Yeah. And, people think of coaches like sports coaches.
Right.
The coach tells you how to move, how to throw the ball, or whatever. The Chicago Bulls had a coach named Phil Jackson. I don't know if you know who
Mm-hmm.
he is.
Yeah.
So he wrote a book. I cannot remember the name of the book, but he wrote a book, and his style of coaching was coaching from within
Mm-hmm.
and having them recognize the power that each of these individuals on that team had individually as well as a team. So
Right.
his coaching was to make them accountable to themselves and to others within their team. And that's how they
Right.
were able to win all the trophies that they did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not something that is, it's one issue. It's actually multiple things coming together
Yes.
when it comes to coaching. So again, somebody might come to me wanting to lose weight, but
Mhm.
I don't look at it from that
Right.
concept, and I try to get them to understand it's not just only about losing weight, but really, what are the other factors that
Yeah.
may be hampering this need that you have of wanting to lose weight?
Right.
So yeah, it is a matter of being able to become coachable too.
Yeah. So there's that too. I actually have a 1 hour strategy session that I do with potential clients.
Yeah.
And during that strategy session, I give them a few tips to take away with them, because when you talk to somebody, it's not a 15-minute consultation.
Yeah.
How can you get to know anybody in 15 minutes? But the strategy session is asking them questions, so you get to kind of know where they're coming from.
Right.
And the last thing I ask them is, are you coachable? And if they've been listening and if I see them, if we're doing it through video, I can see them being interested. But if they're looking around and just being bored with what I'm saying, then they're not really that coachable. But,
Right. Or you're just not connecting. It's just
oh, we're
not
not
connecting.
connected. Exactly.
And you're right, because if you're not connecting, then you could refer them to someone else, or, and it's not a matter of you just losing a client, but rather you want to be able to be connected to that person to be able to help them.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And this world gives us quick fixes.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, and you're probably and I know you're rolling your eyes, and you're probably seeing these commercials on TV about those weight loss drugs
Yeah.
now, Ozempic,
Mm-hmm.
Wegovy, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And people who are like, I need to lose 20 pounds, and then they'll start using something like that. But quick fixes are just that. They're going to fix it for the time being.
Correct.
What about 5 years from now? What about 10 years from now?
Yeah, all the persons who went on Ozempic and all these other drugs, I'm like, I want to see you all 20 years from now. Let me hear what's the story now. What do you need now to get fixed?
Right, right.
And by then it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. And the long range effects of a quick fix, what's that going to do? You
Right.
know? So
Shut your whole immune system. And then you
exactly.
have every autoimmune disease you could think of. So
Right.
we could go down that spew right now, but no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jolie, for taking this time to chat with me and share with my community what you do, because you are for sure empowering others to be themselves and even better. And being able to sit with you for 12 weeks, for instance, in one of your programs is important,
Mhm.
because you need that time frame to connect and understand what may be the underlying issues that may be having the current problem, which was years old, for instance. And knowing that it takes time to do that, having that opportunity to sit with someone and be coached by someone to help you, you know, come through these situations is very important to be able to see the results that they're looking for anything in life. So I am grateful that you're doing something like that. And it's something that I would encourage any of my clients to do, to connect with
Yeah,
and inform and coach and, understand the underlying issues that
yeah,
may affect them,
yeah,
Great.
yeah, yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, Jolie. Guys, I hope you all really tuned into this podcast, because it definitely speaks to many different ways we can help ourselves and enhance our well being in all facets, all ways we can. And Jolie shared some tips as well. So if you have to listen to this again, go right ahead. I will share with you Jolie's information, how to connect with her on our website, and get that one-on-one session with her. Let us see if you all are a good match. If you do need her services, it would be really good that you connect with her and learn some more and help yourselves and fill your cup, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yay. Thank you so much, Jolie.
Yeah.
Blessings to you. Blessings to everyone listening on. Thank you again. This has been FxWB New Beginnings podcast with Michelle, and today, Jolie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye for now.